Hello, and welcome to Transformed. I'm your host, Josh McMullen, where we'll explore topics, ideas on how to transform our current lives and how we need to be the person, how to be the person we need to be and how we need to be the person God created us to be and be the person really that we want to be. So today I want to talk about mental toughness. Because really, if we're going to try to transform, right, if we're going to try to change any part of our life, we're going to need to have some mental toughness. Without mental toughness, we're not going to have the ability to withstand any pain or struggle, accomplish our goals, right? It doesn't matter if we're going for something positive, like I said, going to school, saving more money, losing weight, or if it doesn't matter, if we're trying to do something to overcome negative things like smoking or drinking or whatever it can be, right? If we don't have any mental toughness, we're probably going to end up losing that battle in the long run. So for the most part in my life, I've been mentally weak, so I'm not coming at this as like an expert, right? In middle school, high school, I was pretty mentally weak, was afraid of performance, really afraid of putting in effort. I didn't want to play in games because I didn't want to look bad or make mistakes, didn't want to work hard, just wanted to kind of get through life in high school pretty much as easy as possible. So really had a lack of mental toughness, a lot of really just mentally weak all around. A lot of that kind of led into some bad habits, led into really the weight gain, right? If you're looking to look at mental weakness, the weight gain, the pornography addiction, the anger problems, a lot of the emotional turmoil, it's really because I wasn't mentally prepared to accomplish any goals. I wasn't mentally prepared to take on any adversity, any problems, and and when I came up to something, right, I didn't have the ability to say no to temptations. I didn't have the ability to overcome anything. So that's why I think mental toughness is such a key element with our success, right? If you really look at those who have success in life and have success with their goals, it's because they have some mental toughness. They're able to overcome those problems, overcome those issues, and get to the other side of it. So that's why today's episode is going to be more about mental toughness, is because we're going to need it. This society, our generation really needs to be mentally tougher, whether it's achieving goals or whatever it is, right? We just need to be a little bit mentally tougher at looking at problems, viewing problems, and how we overcome those problems. So how do we become mentally tougher? I think that's kind of a complex answer, right? Because there's going to be multiple things you can do to be mentally tougher. I think the first easiest part of that is just saying no. And saying no at least once, right? I think mental toughness is just like a muscle, right? Self-control kind of feeds into that. So being able to say no, growing the self-control, growing the mental the toughness is you're just going to have to work it out like a muscle, right? So saying no one time is going to be easier than to say no a second time and kind of keep building up on that. So for example, for me, it's like, all right, you're craving Oreos or craving a donut. All right, then saying, okay, hey, no, we'll just wait to, put a date. Oh, I'm going to wait until Friday before I have a donut, or Saturday. And then, so withstanding that Monday through Friday, bam, Saturday, have your one donut, have your donuts, whatever it is, Oreos. And then, all right, well, I'm not going to have any more until next weekend. All right, saying no throughout the week, or giving yourself a deadline. Okay, I'm going to have this, or I'm not going to have a cheat meal, or I'm going to save money. I'm going to go to school. I'm going to study 2 hours a day. Whatever it is, right? Say no to the bad alternative, like eating the donut. Say no to watching TikTok or watching Netflix instead of studying for school, or spending money on something when you really need to be saving it, right? Say no. Build up that resilience, build up that self-control. And really that's going to help, with diet goals or any goals, right? So saying no and being able to have kind of that beginning level of self-control is going to help you out in the long run. The other part, like I said, it's going to be multiple answers into this, and I think eventually it actually kind of combines all of these answers into one. But we also need to have like the Mamba mentality when pursuing our goals. So if you're not familiar with the Mamba mentality, That was kind of established from former Laker great Kobe Bryant, who his nickname was the Black Mamba, and so he had this the Mamba mentality where he would have this like relentless pursuit of trying to win a championship, right? Take over games and just be this dominant player. But he did that with a lot of hard work, right? That relentless pursuit of the goal really involved a lot of hard work behind the scenes. So sometimes, if our goal is losing weight or whatever your goal is, I keep saying losing weight, right? Because that's, again, one of the biggest things a lot of people are trying to achieve. So if your goal is trying to lose weight, pursue that goal relentlessly until you've accomplished it. Whether that means, doing a lot of work behind the scenes or even just taking it, by steps, right? Like there's one rule that I really like that I think a lot of people should at least try and listen to, which would, again, build that relentless step would just be, for one, you got to try, right? You got to start, but also then increase your resistance, increase your steps towards that, like by 10%, the 10% rule, right? So if you want to run 1 mile, right, the next week run 1.1 miles. If you want to try cutting out one meal, right? So instead of maybe cutting out an entire meal, maybe, hey, I'm gonna reduce my portion size for one meal. Fasting, right? Intermittent fasting. So instead of cutting out one whole meal, or cutting out 16 whole hours, cut out just 4 hours. Say, hey, I'm gonna from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. I'm not gonna eat, and that way at 7 a.m. is gonna be first meal, and then the next week, hey, I'm not gonna eat from 7 p.m. to 8 a.m. Right? Continue to just kind of increase whether it's 10%, right, or whatever it is. Just try to increase those goals. And I will say, like I said, I mentioned intermittent fasting. I think that's for one, that'll be huge just for your health benefits, but also that's also how I started to say no a little bit more was by intermittent fasting, right? Because having that, being able to kind of control your hunger ends up kind of helping you control a lot of things in your life and helping you kind of pursue, your physical goals and your health goals is, really cut, if you're able to say no to hunger, you're able to say no to a lot of things, and you're able to really, really get established on that self-control muscle. So intermittent fasting would be great for doing a lot of this stuff, would just be intermittent fasting. So back to relentless pursuit. I really like some of the people I like to follow just based on their relentless pursuits. Are guys like David Goggins. He had a book called Can't Hurt Me, where really he had this big physical transformation where he was this mentally weak, overweight, kind of underachieving this person just going through life. And then he had a goal and a dream of being a Navy SEAL, and kind of he has this big transformation going, almost 300 pounds to, I think he lost like 120, 130, 40 pounds, and became like this mental tough Spartan of a man where he can run 100 miles and it doesn't matter, blows his legs out and still runs, and he's just this kind of almost like he's met like this mental threshold of pain and resilience and toughness that I don't know if it's possible to kind of get to that level, but again, having at least some of that, right, would benefit us for most of us in the long run, right, for the rest of our lives, even just having a pinch of that. The other guy I really like is Cameron Haynes, how he had that relentless pursuit, but he also does that by the constant practice, right? He's always, he's trying to be the best hunter in the world, so he's constantly out there shooting his bow. But he also does other things throughout his day and throughout his life to make sure he's the best at shooting his bow. So really, I like him because he tries to optimize his life and optimize his day to be the best hunter he can be. So he does a lot of endurance running. He can run, 100 miles and runs a marathon every day and does a lot of strength training, all to be the best consistent hunter. And on top of that, then still shoots his bow, right? So he's still even getting that practice in there. So I really like those two, just for one, the relentless pursuit, and then also optimizing your day to give you the best success possible. So changing other elements throughout your day to make sure your goal is going to have success, right? You're going to achieve your goal. And then obviously Kobe Bryant having the Mamba mentality, kind of creating that, putting the work behind the scenes, having that hunger and that drive to want to win. I think that's where a lot of us, want to lose weight, right? But we don't want to put in the work. We don't have that drive. We don't have that eye of the tiger, right? The Rocky, you like the Rocky movies, right? Rocky 3. You don't have the eye of the tiger to wanna achieve the goal or want to win, because it's a long pursuit. I talked about it in the last podcast, right? If you're only doing a little bit at a time, you could lose 50 pounds in a year, which is great, but 12 months can be a long time, and that's a long dieting, and sometimes it's not as satisfying to see 50 pounds in a year. We kind of want 50 pounds in 3 months or a week sometimes. So again, having the eye of the tiger, having that passion and that hunger to achieve your goals is going to be key. So, and I would say really, like, if you're even looking at my life, for a long time I was just trying to take the easiest path of least resistance possible. And I think a lot of us do that, right? We try to take the easiest path. And I've said this to a lot of people in my family. I'm not the smartest. I don't know where I rank on it, but I know there's a lot of people in front of me on being the smartest, and I'm definitely not the most talented. I'm definitely not the most athletically gifted in the family, but I think what separates me and where maybe I rank a little higher is I'm probably the most relentless at my pursuit of my goals and my dreams, and trying to change my life and trying to be the man I want to be, and be the man I think God wants me to be, and trying to pursue that goal and be the person that I really think my family deserves me, or wants me to be, and deserves. So I think that's probably the biggest difference is the passion, right? We got to have that pursuit of those goals. I think even doing this podcast, that's one of my goals, right? Just sometimes got to go out and do it. Might not be the best podcast in the world, but I'm going to keep doing it. So just go out there and at least try to do it and pursue those goals. So another element that we need to be mentally tougher is we're going to have the get back on the horse mentality, right? We're going to fail. We're going to have setbacks. I've talked to a lot of people about weight loss, and most of them, just like myself, take a long time to achieve their goals. And I think most of us, right, like you run our miles, we count our calories, we look at the scale, and the next thing you know, it's barely moved. Right? Wait a minute, I ran like 30 miles this week, or I've cut out 600 calories a day or 1,000 calories a day, and you kind of expect a different number. And I think sometimes not seeing a certain number on that scale kind of like we take it as a defeat, right? We take it as a loss, and it kind of sets us back a little bit, right? Like, okay, well, I'm not going to run as hard, or I'm going to go and get that bag of chips, right? So instead of looking at the achievement of, hey, you ran this much or you cut out that much, right? And you expected a certain result. So now instead of not getting that result, now you're just going to go back and fall. Fell off the horse, and you're going to stay off the horse. Well, I think we need to have the get back on the horse mentality. Kind of forgive yourself if there was some cheat meals in there, or if you didn't quite achieve the goal. You're going to have to pivot, and you're going to have to reevaluate where you went wrong. Well, hey, maybe this diet's not, maybe I've met my limit. For me, like keto, right? I met the limit on the diet, right? I lost 60 pounds originally on the diet, and I realized, you got to pivot. You got to change. You got to do something else. So take new angles at things, right? I think falling off the horse will give you a moment to reevaluate your day, your week, and see, what new angles you have to take. It took me a long time to lose weight. I had several setbacks, right? I didn't lose 100 pounds in 6 months, right? It took me I lost 110 pounds over the course of 4 years, right? That was, for the first year, I lost like 80 pounds. And then I gained 40 of it back over like the next year and a half. And then over this, for me, from May 28th of 2020 until now, I've lost 60 pounds. And I've been on pretty consistent on that. But, throughout that whole last 4 years, I got distracted a lot. I had several setbacks. So you're going to have setbacks. You're going to have these moments where your obstacles are going to get in your way, and you're going to have to reevaluate your goal. You're going to have to reevaluate how you go approach your goal, and maybe try a different diet, try a different technique. Maybe you're going to have to run a little bit harder, run a little bit further, change your workout, whatever it is, right? You're going to have to reevaluate. If you're trying to save money, maybe you had a loss of income all of a sudden, or you had an unexpected bill, but you're going to have to learn okay, well, maybe this month I'm not going to save money this month, but I got to get back on it next month. Or, hey, maybe I'm going to save $20, right? $20 is going to be more